Okay, welcome back to our class. Today, we will discuss the art of problem solving. So let's start by giving you a sample problem here because we are going to discuss the art of problem solving. It is right now if we will start our class by giving you a problem here. So let's try. Now I have here, we are going to uh, solve the area of a rectangle. Let's make it simple. Okay, by um, asking, let's say, or by letting the user, okay, letting the user, let's say, user to input, okay, to input the sides, or let's say the sides of the rectangle, and displays this, let's say, the area and the perimeter. Okay, perimeter. Okay, now, okay, this is a simple problem. Now that needs, of course, a simple solution. So in this case, now we will discuss what will be our first step here. So take note, when doing problem solving, first we should need to know what are the inputs. So what are the inputs here? So let's say I will label this as inputs. And what are those inputs? We need to have the what? The length of the side. Okay, let's label of the, okay, let's say length and width. Okay, these are the inputs of your, okay, these are the inputs of your triangle. So let's label that as length and width. And what are your outputs? Okay, that is very important. Inputs and outputs. Okay, in this case, now we are going to display the area according to the problem and the perimeter. Okay, that's how you uh, analyze the problem of the area and the perimeter. Now I will be discussing the algorithm on how to step by how what will be the step-by-step solution to the problem. So when we say algorithm, take note, this is our main first topic. Algorithm, okay, is the first, is a step-by-step pro- process of solving the problem. Algorithm, okay, it is a step-by-step process of solving the problem. So in our first step, so let's label this as number one. This will be your step one. Let's label this as step one. So since we are looking for the area and the perimeter, now what should be our first step? So of course we will start that one. Our second step, let's say our step two, will read the area. So we can say read the, no, not read the area, but read the length of the sides. Okay, you can say length of the rectangle, say of the rectangle, and of course we are all step three, no, can be, so read the, okay, width of the rectangle. Okay, what else? What else are we going to do? So we need to, after finding the length and the width, we need to solve for the area and the perimeter. So we can say area, okay? We can say area. Now, what is the formula for the area of the rectangle? So that's it. Now, length times the width. So let's say length multiplied by, let's say I will use x, the width, and okay, and the result will be stored to the area. So take note of the arrow. Arrow here is pointing to the area. It means um, the product now will be stored to the variable area. So step number 5, we can say, okay, let's solve for the perimeter. Say I have here the perimeter of the triangle. And do you know what's the equation for the perimeter of the triangle? That is just 2 times the length. Okay, multiplied by plus, we can say 2 length. And just use this one multiplied by, okay, 2 times the width. Okay, so that's the equation for the perimeter. Now, what are we going to do next? After finding the area and the perimeter, we need to display the area and the perimeter. So you can say in your algorithm that, okay, let's print area. Okay, and then in your step number 7, okay, step 7, you can say print perimeter. Okay, print the area and print the perimeter. So did we miss a step? No? Okay, so let's end our algorithm. So this is how you create your algorithm. This is a step-by-step process on solving the problem. Now, after we have this algorithm, we need to create a Python program. So in this case, your Python program will start by reading the value of the length of the triangle. So you can say, let's label that as the variable length is equals to, take note, we are going to read values no, from the keyboard. So we can say float. So I will be using float, and then input. Okay, let's say enter. Okay, the length. Okay, that's fine. And then we can say, let's copy this one. Control C. All right. So we have the width. So I will paste it here. Control V. Oh no, what is this? Okay, let's just type this one. Float. Okay, input. And then let's enter the width. Enter. Okay, the width. All right. So we have now. Take note that will be our step 3. Okay. Next, now for our step 4, we can solve for the area first. So we can say the area is just equal to the length multiplied by the width. So that will be the area here. And right, so enter. And then we are going to solve for the next step. We will solve for the perimeter. The perimeter is 2 times the length. So we can have that plus 2 times the width of the triangle, of the rectangle I mean. And then what else? We can say, oh, let's print for our next step. So print the area. So let's say the area is, okay, let's say area. Okay, that's how you create code. So let's say print the perimeter. So the perimeter is, okay, comma perimeter. Okay, now this is your code. Now take note. Now your code should be the same with your algorithm. First, no, you are first not to solve the problem or to solve problems using programming. You start with creating an algorithm. So an algorithm will guide you on how to create your code. So let's try this one. So I have now this algorithm on how to solve or to input the value of the length and the width of the rectangle, and then displays the area and the perimeter. So let's try to run this code. Run the code. So here now the user is prompted to enter the length. Let's say I will enter 100, let's say 200, or let's say 20. So press enter, and then it will print the area. So the area is blah blah blah, and the perimeter is blah blah blah. All right, now that's how you solve problems using an algorithm. That's the art of problem solving. Okay? If you will notice, I did not discuss this before your problem solving because I want you to experience a hard time on how to analyze the problem. So it is actually a nice feeling that you will know this one method. So you will appreciate this later on now if you are going to solve problems here. Now let's try problems, example problems here. Now we have here the algorithm. Now, if you can still recall, now, the radius of the circle, we have this as an example before. So let's start with problem number one. Let's start with the easier one. Okay, now according to the problem, let's say problem number one, find the area of the circle of radius r. So in this problem, no, the inputs no, to your algorithm no, is only one, which is the radius of the circle only, and the output of the output is the area of the circle. So this is how you create your algorithm. Now, okay, take note no in the steps no, they don't add they don't put step one to start the problem. No, we can eliminate that one. You can directly start with step one by reading the values of the circle. Now in this case, now we will practice on how to create program based on the algorithm. So looking at this problem, in the first step, now we are going to read the input uh, radius r. So we can say, or we can use the variable r as stated there, and we are going to read the input. Okay, we are going to read the value okay entered by the user. Let's say we can say enter the radius. Okay, it's understood that we are solving this problem. So enter the radius, and then next step two, area. Okay, we can say area is simply pi r squared. So in this case, we need to use the value of pi. In this case, I will uh, load the module, let's say math module, and I will import everything under math module because I will be using the function pi. So we can say pi multiplied by, now take note, now if I'm going to remove pi, take a look at the from math import, the first line. If I'm going to remove pi, it will just change color, meaning to say it is not in use. Now if I'm going to put pi, now you will notice that it changes color, okay? Meaning to say pi is supported by that line. Alright, now so this is pi r squared. So take note when we use the notation for r squared, you can say r squared double asterisk. So pi times r double asterisk squared. Okay, that's how you solve for the area of the circle. Now, our next step is to print the area. So in our code, we can say print, okay, the area of the circle is, let's say, we will use the variable area. And let's try. Let's run the code. Okay, here we are going to, okay, the wrong spelling. Okay, let's try to change this one and then run the code again. Okay, stop and rerun. Alright, radius. Let's say the radius is 100 and the area is equal to 31,415. So that's the area of the circle. So I hope now you've learned a lot from converting algorithm to uh, Python code. Let's try another problem here. Problem number 2. So assuming no, we already have an algorithm. So take a look at the first problem. Okay, in the algorithm, the first problem, you will notice that in step 1, no, there's no start button. Yung start, what do you call that? The first step is not the start, or the last step is not the end. So it is the first code of your Python is to read the radius of the circle. So, yes, that is also correct. But no, this one is really nice to read. Like for example, step 1 will be you start your program. Okay, let's try. Erase this part. Okay, now let's read first the problem. We are going to write an algorithm to read two numbers and find their sum. Or let's say two numbers, now find their sum and product. So we will add this one. So I will write the problem first. Write a program that reads two numbers and let's say displays the sum and product. Okay, our first step, if you will notice, the first step. Okay, by the way, now let's analyze the problem. The inputs here are numbers. First number, the variable is num1. The second number is the variable is num2. So we can use that one as our variable. And the expected output here is the sum of two numbers. Since we modified the problem. So the outputs are sum and product of two numbers. Now we can start now by going to read the algorithm, start, and then read the first input. So the variable that we will be using is num1 now to read the first input. So let's use float. So we have input, okay, enter the first number. You can say the first number. So enter the first number and then num2, okay, that is the third step. We can say float and then enter, okay, input, okay, the second number, okay, enter the second number, let's say enter the second number. All right, now that will be our step 3. Now for the step 4, we will add two numbers and put the sum in the variable sum. So we can say sum is equals to num1 plus num2. Since we modify the code, or we modify the problem, we are also going to solve for the product. So let's say num1 multiplied by num2. And then we are going to display or print the sum and of course the product. So take note, now we modify the problem number 2 by displaying also the product. So let's say print the sum is, okay, let's have a comma here, sum, comma again, and the product is a comma product. All right, that's how you create your simple Python code. Let's run the code. Okay, right, enter the first number. Let's say my first number is 10. Enter the second number. Let's say 20. The sum is 30. Okay, and the product is 200, which is correct. Right. So that's how you use algorithm to solve the problem. Now let's proceed to more complicated problems here. Let's say we are going to use if-else function. Okay, if-else function. So we are going to use the if-else function. Let's try this problem number 1 here. So let's read the problem. Write an algorithm. I think we need to write it here. Write a program. So in this case, write a program to find the greater, okay, number between two numbers. Okay. Okay, this is a very simple problem, and so we will discuss now what are the inputs here. So the inputs is simply, okay, I will put the inputs here because it's not stated there. So inputs, so we can say inputs. What are the inputs? Okay, A and B. So A is a number, B is also a number. What about the output? Output. So in the output, we are going to print which one is the greater number. Okay, which one is the greater number? All right, so greater number, we will use C. The output is C. Okay, now let's start the code. With in step 1, take note, no? I am teaching you how to convert algorithm into Python code. Now, algorithm is not hard to create, but we will solve problems later on that will allow you to create your own algorithm. So let's start with the algorithm first and then transfer that to a code. Okay, let's read inputs A and B. So what is that? So we can say A, I will read the input. So we can say I will be using the integer. Okay, print, okay, input. So input, enter the first number. Okay, we'll just use this one. Enter the first number and we will use B. Okay, okay, enter input. Okay, enter the second number. Okay, we will use this no dot. Okay, that is our second step. Now in our step 3 we have an if statement. So we have an if statement. So we had if, okay, if what? If A is greater than B, okay, according to the algorithm. So you can use if A is greater than B, then what? Then C is equals to A. So C is equal to A. Take note, C here is the greater number. Okay. Okay. If we have an if function, let's say if, okay, to if function, but you can still use else. Okay. Now in this case, now we will be using else. Else, so else it means, that is B is greater than A. So meaning the greater number is B. So in this case, yeah, let's say A is, okay, let's say A is the greater number. In this case, B is the greater number. Then we will print C. All right, print C. We can say print. Okay, we will print C. So we will print the greater number is, okay, comma C. Okay, comma C. Now let's try to run the code, and then let's check now if the first number is 6 and my second number is 4, which one is greater? Of course 6. So you can say the greater number is 6. Now let's try again. Let's use, let's say my first number is 4, my second number is 8, let's say 8. So in this case, the greater number is 8. This is using the if-else function, if-else statement, I mean. Alright, now this is very simple. So let's try. Now take note in step 4, instead of using if, I just use else. But you can still use if. Let's try. You can say if B is greater than A, will it work? Let's try. Let's run the code. First number is 5. Okay, second number is 1. So in this case, 5 is the greater number. So you can just use if, or you can say if and else. Okay, and that's fine. What is important here is they have the same result. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try here a looping repetition method. Okay, for the looping method, okay, let's read problem number 1 first. So problem number 1, an algorithm to calculate even numbers. Now, calculate even numbers, not calculate, or maybe print even numbers. Okay, between 0 and 99. So we are going to print even numbers between 0 and 9. So we will use looping here. In this case, take note. So um, what is this now? A start is 0. Okay, if go to line 3. Okay, this is a looping or repetition. So if you will notice here, it uses if statement, but technically this is just a while loop or a for loop. Depends. Let's use a while loop because that was our last topic. Now let's start using a while loop. So we are going to create code. Let's say create a program that displays, I don't know if this is the same problem for number 1 because it does not say display here. So it does say calculate the even numbers. How are you going to calculate? Are you going to add? Are you going to subtract? No, it does not say here, but based on the algorithm, it just displays. Okay, it adds. It adds all the even numbers. So if you can see here, it adds all the even numbers. So let's create a program that adds, okay, all the even numbers. Even numbers from 1 to 99. Is that correct? 0 to 99. Okay, 0 to 99. 0 to 99. Okay, let's just follow what is in the algorithm here. So initially, I is set to 0. You can say I is equal to 0. And then according to number 3, write I in standard output. So we will display I. So take note, we will display I. So I will just put a space here because later on we will put the loop over there. So we will display the I. So you can say print. So I. Okay. Assuming we are going to print this I horizontally. Okay. I just use horizontal one so that we can easily see what is the output. And then what else? According to step number 4, you are going to add 2 to your I and then store the value to I. So you can say I equals to I plus 2. That's your algorithm. And in number 5, if I is less than 98. Take note, I is still less than 98. Go back to line 3, which is to display the output. So in this case, now we will be using while loop. So in this case, while I is less than, okay, or equal to 98, okay, take note of that. I is less than or equal to 98, go back to number 3, which is to print I. And then later on, add I. So, and then the program ends. But is that it does not say to display I. So it actually displays the sum. Or it does not speak about adds, no, but the program just display, right? Create a program. Let's change the program. Okay, create a program that displays, okay, not solve all the even numbers from 0 to 99. So in this case, now we can say from 0 to 99, since 99 is not an even number, we can just use 98. Let's code this one. Let's run this code. So you will see here that 0 to 98, no, was displayed accordingly. Okay. 0 to 98. That's how the program works. Now take note. Now, this is very important in your what do you call that? In your problem solving. All right, now let's try the last problem here using uh, loops, or let's just create a problem here using loops. Okay, I will create a problem and then I will also create an algorithm for a practice using loops. Okay, let's go back to our previous problem. You can say find the sum of the series shown below. What is this? Okay, shown below. So what is this series? Let's say 8, we have 15, we have 22, okay, that up to, okay, let's say up to 100 terms. Okay, now we are going to display. So there is no input here, but we are going to display the sum. Find, okay, let's say display the sum of the series shown below. So we will also display the series, the numbers here, and of course the sum. Let's try using while loop. So what are the inputs? What are the inputs? According to the problem, it does not require the user to input. No input. Okay, there's no input here. What about the output? So output, let's just display the series and the sum. Okay, that's your output. Now let's have our step 1. Let's say in our step 1, we can just say start. Okay, in our step 2, what are we going to do next for our step 2? Okay, take note, step 2, no, we will, since this is 100 terms, no, we are going to use I. We are going to set I. So I here is a counter. Let's say, let's set count not equals to 0, because we will count not 0 but 1. Let's use 1 instead of 0. Let us set count equals to 1. What will be our step 3? Okay, take note, count, the variable count here will use to count from 1 to 100. Okay, and of course the number will be set. Let's say set number equals to, what is the number? First number. Okay, series. Okay. Number is equal to 8. And our step 4, no, we are going to display the number. Okay, display the number. All right, and then step 5. So what is displayed here? Of course, the number 8. Now, step 5, we are going to calculate the sum. But initially, no, we did not set the sum here. So we need to add steps now between 2 and 3, and we will name this one. Or you can say set count equals 1 and sum equals 0. We can use this one. So in step 2, we can set count equals 1 and sum equals 0. Okay? Okay, display the number and then solve for the sum. Sum here now is just equal to the value of sum, no, plus what? Plus the number. Okay, plus the number. Initially, what is the number here? Okay, the number is, okay, by the way, so we are going to display the number. Okay, that's the number 8. Okay, and we also have sum. And then what are we going to do next? We need to print the next number. So how are we going to print the next number? Okay, we need to increment the number, the first number. In this case, the first number is 8, and we need to increment that first number. So what is that number? Okay. So we will increment the first number, okay, and we will solve the sum. Okay. So our step 6. Okay, step 6. We are going to increment the first number. Let's say number equals number, okay, plus what's the increment? So we will notice 8 becomes 15. So it increments 7. 7 plus the previous number will be your next number. And now our step 6. Our step 7, let's say if, okay, if count, okay, is less than, let's say less than or equal to 100, let's say we will go to step 4. Or we will go to step 3. We will go to step 3. Step 4, I mean, because we are going to display the number. Go to step 4 until, no, we have now the last step. Let's say step 8. Let's try. No? This will be the end of the code. So after the loop, after looping 100 times, it will just end the program. No. It will not end the program, but it will display the sum. Okay. Display or print sum. And then last step, step number 9. Okay, step number 9, end the program. Okay, now from this algorithm, we need to create our own Python program. So according to our algorithm, we will set count equals to 1. Okay, equals to 1, and of course we are going to set sum is equal to 0. Of course, we are going to set also the number to be 8. And then what? And then we will go display the number. So we will add a space there because I will insert the while loop later on. So we will display the number. So I will just use display the number, print. Okay, we are going to print. Okay, not I, will print number. Y number. We will print the number. Okay, we will print the number, and we will display it horizontally. All right. Okay, we printed the number. After printing the number, so that is the displaying the number actually. So instead of display, let's just use print the number. Okay, and we are going to add the sum. So take note, sum is equal to sum plus your number. Okay, and what else? Next step, number equals number plus 7. Yes, number equals number plus 7. All right, and then what? Okay, so we will, in your step 7, this is a while loop. You can say while, okay, while count is less than or equal to 100, then print the number, print the sum. After exiting the while loop, you're going to print, okay, the sum. Let's say the sum. We will just use \n. The sum is, we will just display the sum here. Okay, display the sum. Let's try. Alt R. Oh no, what happened to our loop? Okay, we forgot to increment the count. No, that's what is missing here. So let's stop this for a while. Okay, stop. We will increment the sum. We will increment the count. So take note, the count is not present in our what do you call that? In our step. So in this case, now I will increment the uh, the count. Now let's just put that in step 5. Okay, so we can say count is equal to count, okay, plus 1. So, okay, count is equal to count plus 1. This is used to increment. We will just use arrow here. Okay, take note, no, we will increment also the count because we are using while loop. If we are not going to increment that one, it will create an infinite loop. So after this, we are going to increment the count. Count is equals to count plus 1, or you may use the shortcut for this. Let's try again. That's the beauty of programming. You can always, what is the error here? Sum is equal to count is equals to count plus 1. Where is the error here? Here. I forgot to convert this to a comment. Okay, Control R, run. Okay, here goes the number. Okay, let me show you the number. So we have 8, 15, 22, 29, 36 until it reaches 100 terms. We don't know now if this is really 100 terms. Okay, let's try to check if the answer is correct by changing the value of 100 to 5 so that we can easily add, let's say 3. Now we can easily add the numbers. So let's run the code. I changed it to 3 so that it will only display 3 numbers, no? So that we can check if the sum is really equal to 45. Let's try. If you are going to add 8 and 22, that's 30, plus 15, that's 45, meaning to say the code is correct. That's how you check your code. You use a smaller number. So meaning to say if I'm going to change that to 5 and run the code again, no? Okay, again, run the code. It will display 5 numbers, which is correct. Now let's say 8, 15, 45. Okay, the 3 number is 45. Okay, 45 plus 29, that's 70. Okay, 74. 74, 80 plus 30, 100. So that's fine, that's correct, no? So meaning to say this is correct. All right, run. So you have 100 terms and it displays the sum of 100 terms, which is 35,450. All right, now That's it. Okay. Now let's have another problem here. Let's say I want to display the, let's say, the 10 terms of the Fibonacci series. The Fibonacci series. Okay. You can see. Do you know what is a Fibonacci series? So this is a Fibonacci series is a series wherein the sum of two previous terms is equal to the next term. Let's say if I will start with 0 and 1, this will be our first two terms. The next term will be the sum of the two previous terms, which is 1. And the next term is also the sum of two previous terms, which is 1 plus 1, which makes it 2. The next term will be the sum of two previous terms, that is 1 plus 2, that makes 3. And the next term will be 2 plus 3. The next term will be 3 plus 5, which is 8. The next term will be 8 plus 5, which is 13. The next term is 8 plus 13, which is 21. So how many terms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Another one. So this is 35. Oh no, not 35, but 34. So these are the terms now in your Fibonacci series. So I want now to create a program to display the sum by creating first an algorithm. So let's start now by creating an algorithm. Of course, now we need to have the first and the second term. So let's label that as your first term. Okay, let's label that as first term. Okay, let's create a step here. Sorry, I will be creating a step. Okay, step 1. Okay, you start. Okay, I have here step 2. Okay, step 2 is initialize your first number. Okay, let's use first number. We can say first number now equals to initialize. Now set, we can say set first number equals to 0, and then we can say step 3. We can just say set second number. We can say second number now equals to 1. Okay, and of course that will be our first and second number. And then what are we going to do next? Okay, next is step 4. So we are going to display the number. Okay, we are going to display the first two number. Okay, let's say print the first two numbers. Okay, and then let's have step 3. Okay, not step 5. After printing the first two number, okay, we need to add the first two numbers. So we will call that one next number. Okay, next number. So your next number now is the sum of the first number. And the second number. Okay, this is the sum of the first number and the second number. Take note for the next number. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, what about step 6? Since we have the sum of the first number and the next number, what are we going to do next? We need to display the next number. Okay, we need to display the next number. So we can say step 6, the print next number. So now how many numbers are printed? Were printed on 3 numbers were printed. Okay, now let's have step number 7. Okay, since we have now three numbers, what will happen to your previous second number? Your previous second number, since we have now the three numbers, your previous second number will become your first number. So we need to swap. Okay, your first number now is equal to the second number. Take note that is the previous number. Okay, and then step 8. What about your second number? Take note we have three numbers now: 0, 1, and 1. Okay, meaning to say the second number will be now equal to the next number. Okay, it will be now the next number. And then what are we going to do next? We need to, okay, take note. We set the first number, we set the second number, but we did not set the count. Let's set the count, and count equal to 1. So we need to set the count here. So next, okay, we are going to increment the count. Let's say, okay, take note, I will be using arrow here. Let's just replace everything with an arrow. So arrow means the number is stored on the direction of that arrow. Okay. Now count is equal to count. Okay. Last one. So this is your increment until okay, step 10. So until when are you going to count? Are you going to count 10, or are we just going to count 8 because we just printed the two numbers before we print the third number? So we can just use a if, okay, count is less than or equal to 8. Go to, okay, we will go to print, okay, print the first, okay, by the way, we will go to okay, solve, go to step 5. So after this, we are going to go to step 5. Step 5 means we are going to add the numbers. So let's try. Oh, okay, print the numbers. Okay, print the numbers. All right. Step 5. Okay. Step 5 is the next number. Okay. And then you're going to print the next number. Okay, now let's try. Let's create a code here. And then the last step, step 11. End the code. End the program. All right, now let's try to create a code based on our algorithm here. Let's start by initializing the first number. Let's say first num. Okay, by the way, my variables are not the same. So this is num, second num. So I'll just use num. I'll just use num. Okay, sorry for that. Sorry for the variable. Let's just change the variables here. Alright, number, first num, second num. So to make it simpler. So first num is initialized to 0. Of course, we are going also to initialize the count. Count is also initialized to 0. Oh, no, not 0, but 1. And then second number is initialized to 1. Alright, then we print the first and the second number. So we can say print, okay, print Okay, print first number. Okay, let's say first number. Well, how do you do that? First, okay, okay, first num, first, okay, first num, comma, second num. Okay, we are going to print the first number and the second number, and of course, no, I will use and function here with a space so that it will just continue to print the next number. Okay, now in step 5, take note, this is your while loop. Now in your step 5, we are going to solve the value for the next number. So I will just indent this because I will be inserting a while loop here. So your next number is equal to the second number plus the first number. Okay. That is your next number, and we will print. Of course, we will print the next number. You can say print next number. Okay, okay, not next number. And since we are going to print all the numbers horizontally, we will use n. Okay, we have printed the first number, printed the second number. What else? Print the next number. We are going to store the second number to the first number. So meaning to say your first number that is in step 7, your first number, okay, is now equal to your second number. And your second number, okay, your second number is now equal to the next number. Okay, that is in your step 8. And then we will increment the count. Let's say count is equals to count plus 1. And we also have the while loop. In step 10, we need to use a while loop. So while count is less than or equal to 8, then do the following. So this is how you print Fibonacci series. Let's try. I'm not sure if this will work, but I have my intuition that this will work fine. So control run the code, run the code. All right, so it printed the first 10 terms of your Fibonacci series. Now, if you will take a look at our problem above, it printed the first 10 Fibonacci series. Let's say I want to print until take note, this is 10 terms. So let's say I want to print until 20 terms. Okay, up to 20 terms. So you can just replace 8 here by 18. Take note, 18 because we just printed the first two numbers before the while loop. So we need to print 18 numbers. So run the code, and this is your 18 number 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, 233, and so on. Okay, 20 times. All right. Okay, that's it for today. Now I want you to study, okay, the flow charting. Okay, I will not be demonstrating flow charting today, but I will demonstrate the flow charting by next week. What is important here is you know now how to create your algorithm and convert algorithm into Python codes. Okay, that's it for today, and prepare for your midterm examination. Bye.